Hey, good people, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys, I am almost at 200 subscribers. I cannot believe it. It feels like not that long ago, I was asking you all to help me get to 100 subscribers, and now here we are on the verge of getting 200, and I am super excited. So I hope that you guys enjoy this review and will be inclined to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. And of course, what's more important to me than anything, honestly, guys, is that we are able to have a conversation and dialogue in the comment section. So drop some comments. Let me know what you all felt about this episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 9. This show has been off for about 2 weeks, and when I went to check what episode number we were at, I could not believe that we are already 9 episodes in. It does not seem like that to me at all, but here we are. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into my review. I am not going to be giving you all a play-by-play of what happened during this episode. For me, the episode was kind of just like, but of course there are some key things that I do want to discuss and get your opinions on. The first one being this relationship between Jen Shah and Meredith Marks. So the thing about their relationship is when they first came on the show, season 1, they were really cool with each other. It was almost as if Jen was trying to get Meredith to be like a best friend to her. That's how I viewed it. And then, of course, everything went downhill with Jen liking or writing some comments about Meredith's son that was very distasteful. And of course, the whole legal situation with Jen did not help their relationship either. So they were on the outs, especially during last season, okay? Meredith didn't even want to talk to Jen, did not consider her her friend, nothing. And then we know that at the end of the season, Mary Cosby didn't show up for the reunion, so she was let go from the show, or she walked away from the show, as well as the fact that Meredith and Lisa's relationship ended. So it was like, who is Meredith going to be friends with? That's what I was left thinking at the end of last season. And then come to find out this season, all of a sudden, she and Jen are besties. Not really, but almost. And I'm like, what is going on here? But I guess obviously you have to have someone that you can film with, someone that you can talk to. So Jen fits that description for Meredith. Now, I did also hear during one of the interviews, I believe when BravoCon was happening, that Meredith and Heather are really good friends outside of the show. But I guess because of Meredith's relationship with Lisa at the time, the show more so focused on their relationship than she and Heather. So when I found the information out about her and Heather, I'm like, well, how come we don't see a lot of scenes between these two ladies? That still is kind of like, what's going on with that to me as a viewer? Because I would think that obviously for the 3 years that they've been on the show, Heather and Meredith have really maintained their friendship. Anywho, I'm probably spending too much time on understanding what's going on between Meredith and Jen. So you guys let me know what you think about their relationship. The next thing that I want to talk about is Heather, Whitney, and Lisa. Another weird situation because Heather and Whitney were besties all throughout the last 2 seasons, and they have hit some rough patches this season. And what I know in real time is that they have not been able to recover the friendship that they've had. They also used to be the two, Heather and Whitney, that did not get along with Lisa, could not understand why Lisa didn't accept them, didn't like them, whatever. It was always this thing between Lisa, Heather, and Whitney. Now we see that Whitney and Lisa are really kind of close, and Heather is kind of on the outs, and she's on the outs with both of these ladies, and it looks like her relationship also with Jen is fading away as well. Now for me, I really enjoy Heather this season more so than I've enjoyed her any of the other seasons. I don't know why I'm just picking up on how hilarious Heather is, but in her confessionals, they are something of legend. I find her to be very entertaining, but what I don't care for about her is the fact that she seems to have selective memory. There's been a couple of times where both Whitney and Lisa are kind of taken aback with how Heather treats them. It's like one moment she has an issue with them, they're fighting, they're not getting along, especially her and Whitney. And then the next moment, Whitney can come into a room and Heather hugs her and embraces her like they are besties all over again. It's like, girl, the last scene, we literally saw you kick this woman out of your house. So I'm very confused about that, as clearly Whitney is as well. And Heather using the excuse that she doesn't remember, it just doesn't work for me. It's coming across like, girl, you're lying. So I'm gonna really need Heather to kind of figure this out and get herself together. As far as her issues with Lisa and Whitney, I honestly feel like she is in the right. I really do feel that way. Whitney is a very self-centered, self-absorbed person, and it's always me, I, and I just could not be in a friendship with someone like her long term. And then Lisa is kind of the same way as well. And let's not get it twisted. I was talking earlier about the relationship between Meredith and Jen, but Lisa is really only cool, in my opinion, with Whitney because she and Meredith are on the outs. And she's trying to form some type of relationship, I guess you can say, with Heather because, again, she's not cool with Meredith. So who else is she really going to get close with? She already knows that Jen is kind of like a loose cannon. She will flip on you in a minute. So I know that she doesn't want to get that close to her. Plus, I think that Lisa really does believe, and really did believe, I should say, before Jen pled guilty, that Jen was actually guilty of these crimes, and she did not want to associate herself too much with Jen, right? So that's what I'm getting from their dynamic. Very weird. It's going to be really interesting to see how everything plays out this season. Like I said, we already know that Whitney and Heather are not friends right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that relationship plays out during the rest of this season. So let's talk about Dana. I really like Dana. I feel like for me, she reminds me a little bit of myself in the fact that she does not like seeing people get mistreated. Although I don't agree that Jen was bullying Angie H at Heather's casting event, I do believe that obviously Jen's behavior in the past and what we've seen on social media from her, she does come across as a bully. But in that particular situation with Angie H, I'm standing by the fact that I do not believe in that moment she was bullying Angie. I felt like she was well within her rights to question her about her husband making this fake Instagram account attacking Jen and her family. I did not like the fact that Heather tells Dana, I know you stand up for truth and righteousness, I get it, but you are a guest of a guest. Do not take up for the hostess. And I guess she means like, do not go after the hostess. Pick your battles wisely. This is stemming from the fact that Jen poured her champagne over Angie's head, and I'm going to talk about that next. The problem that I have with these women on this cast is how they make Jen come across almost as if she's untouchable, like you can't say or do anything to her when she's wrong. I'm the type of person, friend, foe, whatever. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. If this woman sees something that she doesn't agree with, she's well within her right to say, you know what? I don't agree with that behavior. I'm not going to stand for that behavior. I'm not going to allow you to treat someone a certain type of way in my presence. Now, when the incident happened between Jen and Angie, Dana, no one said anything. But if she had said something, she would have been right to do so. That was wrong. Now that I've said that, let's talk about this incident between Jen and Angie. Basically, Jen is upset because she is not the queen bee of this trip. It doesn't even appear that she planned the trip herself. And I was a little confused because as I was watching the other week's episode and this episode, it seemed as if it was both Jen and Angie together planning this trip. Not that it was Jen's trip and she was doing all the planning. And if it is Jen's trip, then clearly she did not plan the whole trip by herself, because the house that they're staying in, beautiful house by the way, is Angie's friend's house. So Jen, you're over here getting upset because you don't like your room and you feel like Angie is messing up everybody else's room assignments. Girl, you didn't even pick out this house. And I guess because she has a sense of entitlement on this show, that she feels like she can just have the best and everybody have the rest. It doesn't work that way. I'm glad that Angie was like, no, this master bedroom is mine. You're not getting this bedroom. Tough, Jen. Suck it up. But because you did not like that you weren't getting your way, you're going to sit there and pour champagne over this woman's head and then sit up there and have the nerve to say, well, it wasn't like I poured the champagne in the middle of your head so that it would roll down your face. What? Girl, how about don't pour champagne on me at all? Not you sitting here trying to justify where you put the champagne on my head at. Like, really? Who does that? And I think that she saw the other women's reactions, I'm talking about Jen, and realized, oh, I really messed up. Especially probably Dana, because Dana has already said, you are a bully. So when she saw these other women's reactions, she then says, oh, I was just playing. And why don't you just throw your drink on my head? Angie's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So Jen proceeds to take Angie's drink out of her hand and pour it on her own head, which makes you look even more foolish. Girl, as if it could get any worse, here we go. I just don't get it. I really don't. And the fact that no one sat there and said anything to Jen, it's just not right. Like, you should be able, as a human being, to be able to point out someone's behavior and say, you know what, this is not cool. I find it funny that Whitney goes in her confessional and she pretty much condemns Jen's actions, but when all of the ladies went to their respective areas in the house, Whitney didn't go and check on Angie. She went outside and checked on Jen. What? Really? Why are we checking on Jen, Whitney, and Meredith? The only person who saw about Angie was Lisa. We find out later that apparently Angie put together Coach's whole birthday party. Not only did she host it at her house, but she paid for the event. And she's like, 3 months have gone by. Jen hasn't paid anything. She hasn't said thank you or mentioned anything about it. So now she's in her feelings about spending the money for Coach's birthday party. I cannot sympathize with you on that because you chose to do that. I don't know what type of arrangement she and Jen might have had, but 3 months have gone by and you haven't received anything from Jen. So why don't you go and ask her what's going on with the payment for this party? You trying to bring it up now, I understand. Like I say, you're in your feelings, as you should be, but this is not the time or place to discuss that with the other women. They're on their way at this point in time to get on the yacht. So there's a back and forth between her and Jen on the bus. Heather says in her confessional that she went through the walkthrough of Angie's house with Jen prior to the party, and I guess Heather is trying to allude to the fact that it wasn't a situation where Jen was going to be paying for this party. I don't really know the specifics. In my opinion, I'm thinking Angie probably said, you know what, I just got my house built. Why don't I host the party? And Jen probably thought, well, if she's going to host the party, then she is going to be responsible for paying for the party. So that's fine. That's what I honestly believe happened. So at one point, Angie says to Jen, well, why is it that you have no friends? So she's alluding to the fact that what we already know, Jen is not a good friend. Shocker. I will say this. I am proud of Angie for standing up for herself because at first I'm thinking this lady is too soft for Jen. That's what I was thinking. But she actually surprised me and stood up for herself on the car ride and really shut Jen down with that whole, why is it that you don't have any friends comment. Jen, I've never really seen her speechless. So kudos to Angie. Jen does get on the boat and she's talking all this trash about Angie. And I'm like, where was that energy in the car? I am tired, as I've said before in previous reviews, of Jen's attitude and her meltdowns and stuff like that. Once they got out of the car, she was like emotional about everything that happened. And I'm just like, girl, why? You started this. Why would you pour that drink on this woman's head? Anyway, that is my take on this episode. You guys let me know what you thought. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.